Hi, my name's Matt, and I play the cornetto. It's not an ice cream. The name in Italian means little horn. You can see it's the shape of a horn, and originally these would have been made from animal horns or tusks. The cornetto flourished around 1450 to about 1650. You would have heard the cornetto in large cathedrals, small churches, palaces. Most importantly, you would hear this instrument where there are voices. It's got a mellifluous, warm quality to it that blends perfectly with high voices. The cornetto can mimic the voice right down to vowels and consonants. So when I'm playing vocal music, I'm literally playing the words that I'm reading. The cornetto was an improvising instrument as well. Players were expected to embellish and ornament melodies. So here's that melody I played earlier again. The cornetto is made from two pieces of wood that are both hollowed out in the shape of the bore, then stuck together. It's carved on the outside and then bound in leather. So instrument makers would make these instruments and then send them down the road to the nearest bookbinder to get leathered. The cornetto is full of symbolism. It was an instrument that represented life, death, and eternity. The life part is here at the top, where these diamonds are carved. Those diamonds are the European adder. That's the snake you see wound around the medical symbol that we still use today. It's black, which is a symbol of death, and it has 8 sides carved. And those 8 sides represent an unbroken line, like eternity or infinity. So you play the cornetto a little bit like a brass instrument. It's got a tiny mouthpiece, about the size of an acorn, that looks a little bit like a trumpet mouthpiece, and you buzz into it with your lips. But the cornetto doesn't really fit into our modern categories of woodwind or brass instrument. So along with our mouthpiece that we buzz into, there are 6 holes on top and 1 hole underneath. And the fingering system's very similar to a recorder or a flute from this time. In paintings and carvings of cornetto players, you often see players playing in the corner of their mouth rather than the centre. That's so that they can squeeze their lips into this tiny mouthpiece. A lot of modern players, and some historical players, also played slightly off the centre, and that's where I play. The cornetto can play chromatic notes like a modern instrument, but with so few holes on it, it's really hard to make all those notes sound the same. In fact, that wasn't the point. The point was that every note had a different character and sound. So some notes were harder and some notes were softer. As time progressed and people like Bach wrote for the cornetto, you tend to hear more chromatic music like this. But earlier music tended to stick to simpler patterns of notes. The cornetto fell out of favour in the second half of the 17th century. There were a few reasons for this. The violin came along and gained popularity, and violinists didn't need to breathe. They could leap great leaps and play long phrases without stopping. Another reason was that the plague hit Venice, the centre of cornetto making and playing, and it seems like a lot of players and makers died in this plague. Their names disappear from the historical record. There are a few references to the cornetto in the 19th century. The instrument starts to be compared to farm animals, like the braying of a cow. Unfortunately, it looks like the players of this instrument no longer had the technical facility of their forebears. The cornetto all but disappeared for about 3 centuries, and it was only revived in the mid-20th century. Thankfully, you can now hear the cornetto played in cathedrals and churches, as well as concert halls. Lots of ensembles are programming music written for this instrument and are making use of the amazing sound world that it creates.